and welcome back to the Finish Line, proudly sponsored by Hollywood Bets.
Happy birthday to
you.
Keep going.
you. Look 72.
Halfway there.
You're still a prehistoric dinosaur. But happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Thanks, my shoulder.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Happy birthday, Dave. Getting old now. Got pains in the shoulders and everything.
No, I got tattooed yesterday, and that's it now. I'm done.
That's your own fault then. No sympathy for you.
I text Andrew afterwards, and I said I'm never getting another big tattoo again. It's just not worth it anymore. The older I've got, the harder it's been to sit there and suffer through it. Yesterday, halfway through, I was like, yeah, I'm never doing this again.
You're like, I wish Wakanda wouldn't go on forever.
Anybody tells you tattoos don't hurt is a lying swine, because they do hurt. Because you're getting stuff stabbed into you for a prolonged period of time. But generally, like, you go a little bit numb, and it's pain you can handle. Yesterday, I just had enough.
Old age.
Yeah, everything is slowing down.
This doesn't make any sense to me, tattoos. But there you go. You have to pay for that as well.
Well, Tom, you were sitting there looking like one of them fellas that was fighting in Dublin Airport on Twitter yesterday with the hat, and you looked like you're going to rob something.
Maybe he was.
Wasn't me.
Did you see that video?
Hiding the mark.
No.
Not for me to be promoting scuffles in Dublin Airport, but
It's news.
Get on Twitter and watch that video.
Good video.
Okay. You haven't explained yet what we're doing today.
I'm going to do it now. We're having a chat.
Yeah, but
Is this your show or my show?
that's my show.
It's my show. I'm in charge for the summer, so you sit there and shut up.
And I just have to sit in the Hollywood Bets phone booth for the whole year. But anyway, it's fine.
So we haven't done
Okay,
kind of a
power's
random
gone
show
to-
in a long time,
Power's gone to somebody's head.
probably since last year during COVID times. But the racing is not inspiring this weekend. It's terrible, to say the least. We have the Derby coming up, the Oaks. We have Royal Ascot then. We're travelling down to Tom's, staying in a tent out his back garden with Zoff and McPhee's.
The Hoff might make an appearance.
So we decided this week to generally just have a chat about racing and some topics.
What will we be doing though on Friday, David? See, does fucking this.
On Friday,
There we go.
we'll be doing just a snippet of some picks for the weekend. Sandham is all right tomorrow, but the weekend isn't great. But we'll have a video that Andrew will put together then. We won't be together in the video. It'll just be our own little recording and a couple of selections, maybe a nap and next best for the weekend.
It'll be on Twitter.
It'll be on Twitter like that fight in Dublin Airport.
I need to look at this now. No.
So the three of us, we're going to have a chit chat about racing, and I got a few requests for some Cheltenham content. So we'll finish this video off with an anti-post Cheltenham pick in the middle of summer. 10 months away from Cheltenham, but we're going to do it anyway.
Never too early.
Everybody loves Cheltenham. The topics we're going to go into are what got you into racing, and for any new viewers, we've kind of touched on this before, but there's a lot of new people that subscribe to, I hate that word,
Subscribe.
to the channel.
And if you haven't subscribed,
Subscribe now.
there you go.
So you get to know us a little bit more, and we'll have a bit of a crack.
Footsie with me, will
I
you?
won't. We'll have a bit of crack anyway. So we're going to go, what got you into racing? Your favourite racehorse and why? It can be the flat or jumps. Your favourite race and why? Flat or jumps. You don't have to pick both, just one. Some memories of the jumps, some memories of the flat, which the lads would probably be asleep for. You don't really care
Say
for the flat.
there. Say flat there.
And then our anti-post pick for Cheltenham in 2023.
What if we have more than one selection? Are we allowed to do more than one selection, Boss Dave?
Yeah, you can do more. You can do two at most. Tom, you going to Cheltenham in November, actually, before we start?
No, he's not. You're going to tell us he is, but then he won't.
Unless you got a runner, no.
So, no, then. That's okay. Right.
Our company is just
Jesus, that's
not.
hard.
We
Could
will,
well have runners, lads, come Cheltenham November. I'd love a couple of
I
runners.
don't care.
we're going to start with Tom the bank robber in the Hollywood phone booth. And what got you into racing, Tom? Do we have graphics?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So people know what we're talking about.
Sorry.
Oh. I have to be soppy here for a minute now. What got me into racing was my dad, really. So yeah, dad used to go racing. So where I grew up in England is within like 20, 30 minutes of Worcester, Stratford, Ludlow, Warwick, and it's not too far from Cheltenham either. And Wolverhampton, didn't go there too much though. But dad used to go racing to all those local tracks, and he used to bring me. And it was back in the era of the Pipe, McCoy, and David Johnson's success. And especially around those tracks, they used to just go off out in front and nobody had catch them. So yeah, I used to love going. And then I used to go, I'd rather be looking at the horses in the parade ring. And that's how the love of horses came about. So yeah, going racing when I was younger, and thanks to my dad, really.
Andrew.
Me? Mine's not as soppy as Tom's would be. More or less, 21st, day after. A few of us, worse for wear, bored. What was on? Tramore races. The hell of it. Let's go to Tramore. Out we waddled. We had a few winners. Hey ho presto, this is fun.
You enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it. And it wasn't even a betting aspect. It was standing at the rails, watching these half-ton animals just fly past you. I was like, wow, that's impressive. 3 weeks later, I had my first riding lesson. It was that quick. I when I was younger, my family wasn't really into racing, bar my granddad. He would have been big into racing. I remember a few times going to actual bookies with him when it was allowed that under 18s were allowed in bookmakers, and you were allowed to actually have bets when you were young and back in the day. But that's my earliest memory. Probably the earliest memory would have been, Jesus, what would it have been? It's not that long ago. It's probably Hedge Hunter winning the Grand National. But that's how much interest I had in it. I was all football in my teenage years, and
hey, you were good at football. So.
It was Tramore. Tramore after the day after my 21st was what got me into it.
Very good.
What about you, Dave? What's that?
I was just going to say those like earliest memories, like of what horses you remember and stuff. They frighten the hell out of me. Like Istabrack was 30 this year, and I well remember Istabrack. And then you go back to like Barton Banks, Sunny Bay, and like I remember Lord Galeen winning the national. I remember when it got called off, getting told off because I called the IRA dickheads or something. I think I was about 8. So it's like, yeah, it's that's a long time ago. So yeah, my first racing memories are way back, but scary how far ago they are.
I think I'm only really into it. Let's say 10 years, if that.
Yeah, what age are you now?
33.
Yeah, 12 years. So
12 years. I think that even my first Cheltenham memory probably would have been Devon winning the Gold Cup.
Good memory to have that.
I think that was the first proper bet I had at Cheltenham.
Yeah, what a legend. Loved it.
Yeah.
Mine, we've touched on it a few times, I suppose, regards problem gambling and stuff like that. But what got me into racing
Where's this going?
Is a bit of a sob story, I suppose. And like I said, we've touched on it a few times. My father is actually addicted to gambling and has had problems through his entirety of his life and spent some time in rehab and so on and so forth. So horse racing, I knew about it, but would have been a bit of a like taboo subject in the O'Keefe house growing up. So naturally, I would have thought that the sins of your father passed to your son. So I never thought about betting or watching horse racing until then I went to college. And as you do in college, have fun and you have some drinks and there's racing on the telly. And my earliest memory then is watching Cheltenham with the lads when I was in, I think, the second year of college, so I was 19. And Brave Inca won the champion hurdle. And I think my first bet was €2 each way on Brave Inca, and I'd say he was 5-4.
He done it, Tom.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I did not know
what
I did not know what I was doing. But there you go. And then years later, we ended up doing each way bets with Tom. But yeah, and I enjoyed it. I like watching the race, and I was like, this is kind of fun. But obviously, in the back of your head, think, could I get addicted to this? Because there's addiction problems in the O'Keefe family with alcoholism and gambling, like I said. It became kind of a personal thing then to enjoy racing and prove that I could do it without following the same path as my father, and my brother has some addiction issues as well. So then I met Andrew, snowballed from there, and here we are years later.
Didn't you start Facebook?
What was
it called?
I had the armchair tipping, years and years ago.
Is this still a thing?
It is still.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't use it. I don't even know how to log in. But yeah, I caught the racing bug and realized that I could do it. And like we've talked about, regards setting stakes for people and stuff like that, I didn't need to go chasing money. Armchair tipping.
I think it's interesting, Dave, that you got into it and you allowed yourself to get into it, considering
and it
was in your family.
It was a bit of a mental battle at the start because I realized this is quite exciting. Like, racing's quite exciting, and you can fall in love with the horses. And I think the more reason why I suppose I'm into the flat is because the summer after having that first bet, that was at Cheltenham. So I kind of, the most racing then after that was in the summer, and it was back around the time of like Duke of Marmalade and Scorpion and horses like that for Aidan O'Brien, and kind of had an association with following Aidan O'Brien, and kept going through the years and realized that I could have a bet and enjoy it and not worry about if I lost money. And I learned how to put away money for betting, and then you obviously get more in Cheltenham and so on and so forth, and now we're here.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I think this is why I don't really get the whole. Well, I get the whole flat racing thing, but I'm not really into it like I am the jumps. I'd say if I went to a flat meeting and it was a flat meeting that caught me, I probably would be more flat. But I'm getting into it now. We're talking to you about the breeding and side of things and everything. It gets me looking at, right, the stallion was this, he was best over this trip, he went on this ground, the dam was blah blah blah. It does intrigue you too. Is there an angle there that I can take advantage of?
They have, National Hunt horses are bred by mares and stallions as well, yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's different altogether.
I'd say that's more.
You tell me now. You go look at anyone like A Plutarch or any of them. I guarantee you can give a shit who they're by.
Well, you definitely could, yeah. I'm going to the sales next month, and
who's A Plutarch by?
Who's A Plutarch by?
Not a clue.
Point proven. No one gives a shit.
I think he's by Cap Course, but you can check that out there.
No one cares.
Okay, who's Stradivarius by?
Couldn't tell you. I don't know.
There you go. The same thing. He's got a cap guard. Yeah, well done, Dave.
It's not a useless information.
There you go. But yeah, like the first big summer racing for me is flat racing, so I think that's why I do enjoy flat racing. And the first time I ever went to the races, I went with Putty, who is a fan of the show, and people might know from being mentioned the odd time, and we went to Gorn, and it was a flat meeting, and Aidan O'Brien had a couple of runners, so I think that's why I like the flat race. Over the years I've come around to the jumps racing. It's definitely more exciting and better, but I started out more as a flat fan.
Let us know what your first memory of racing is down in the comments.
Okay, we'll stick with Tom going first. We'll go on to the next one, and it's your favorite ever racecourse. That should be racehorse.
No,
I think I wrote that wrong.
You put in racecourse. Racehorse?
Racehorse.
Okay,
Well, let's do both.
Okay, favorite racecourse and favorite racehorse. And why, if there's a reason.
I'm going for two racecourses, one in the UK, one in Ireland. Cheltenham is unbelievable. Like, you guys went there for the first time. I remember being brought there as a kid for the first time. It's just, we were having this discussion there a while back, I think, or I was with someone, how everything seems bigger when you're a kid. And when you go back to stuff as an adult, like I've been back to where I was brought up in the UK. And it's a cul-de-sac of like 5 houses. It's tiny. You can barely turn the car around in the middle of it. It used to be massive as kids. You used to be playing here, there, everywhere. And Cheltenham was the same. Like going to Cheltenham as a child, it's just the biggest place you've ever seen in your life. Fantastic racecourse. And then finally to end up in the Royal Box there in April was just insane. Something I never ever thought that would happen. So that's class. And then Tremor in Ireland has got to be local track. First time I had ever had a proper local track. Fun fact is a distant relation of mine used to be the manager of the racecourse years ago. So, my family have always loved going there. Had a couple of winners there that I've bought for other people. Still looking for our first Pimlico winner there. Hopefully next Friday might change that. Although if August does anything to go by, it won't.
Great.
But yeah, no, it's a class track. It really is good. You can walk straight into town then after for a few points in O'Neill's. It's a brilliant place.
He's planning out Friday already.
And what about a favorite racehorse?
Racehorse. A bit back to going to Cheltenham, and I think the first time I was there was when Best Mate won his third Gold Cup, and like that was just special. It's one of those where you felt the whole place was on him because he was odds on. He was going for his first Gold Cup. The will for him to win was there, and yeah, Best Mate winning his third Gold Cup was just class. We've obviously had some, and on the flat then, like, we're on about racehorses, yeah, like Franco. I was in the UK that year, and it's one of my biggest regrets in racing that I didn't go and see him. I was living in Wales that year, and he was winning all around him, and just again to watch him. And Tom Queally added a few spicy moments, nearly getting him beat a couple of times, but it was fantastic to watch now. So really enjoyed watching Franco's career.
Andrew.
Start race courses. Same as Tom with the English one, Cheltenham. When we arrived there in November, it surpassed everything I expected it to be. I went there with high expectation, thinking this place is going to be unbelievable. But when we walked across the train tracks and then the stadium is just in front of you, you're like, oh my God. You go back to being like a little kid at Christmas. You're so excited going up to the place, especially us if it was the first time. And then you go through the turnstiles and you're in there and you go up where I think it's the club enclosure, the balcony, looking over everything. You just look out at the track and you picture horses running in your head straight away, how they went down this way, how they went down that way. And look, it's the best race course experience I've had. And it's probably because we had so much expectations going to it, and it's Cheltenham and all that jazz. But yeah, by far, Cheltenham is the top, even in the UK and Ireland. It's the top one I've been to. In Ireland, it's close between Punchestown and Leopardstown. Again, Leopardstown I haven't been to until we went to the Dublin Racing Festival. And whether it being that there was a good few of us there and we had a great 2 days, we had a bit of crack, we had a few winners, that added to the whole experience of things.
Met some heroes.
Tom became a stalker. We drank our body weight in wine.
Had some nice pizzas.
The lads had chicken wings and didn't have water for the most spicy chicken wings in their life, and they were giving out to me. I got a chicken Caesar salad, and who was laughing then, lads? Me, sitting there, and all of you were dying.
Last weekend away, chicken Caesar salad, please. Get out.
Licking the
I don't like spicy things.
Licking the couch behind me, trying to stop the fucking pain in me tongue.
I was sitting there sipping on wine, and all these fellas were going, water.
There you go.
But as a next overall experience, and it probably again has to do with all of us going with a few of the lads, that was probably the best racing experience I've had. Punchestown will always be up there, just because we go to the festival every year. We've had some good winners up there. We've seen some top class horses up there. We've seen the likes of Faheen. I've seen Diovan up there. Seen Hurricane Fly when he came back and won the champion hurdle and he beat Solwyn on the line. Seen Denman up there. like I've seen so many superstars up there, so that'll be up there as well. Experience-wise, Dublin Racing Festival, the way the 2 days is structured, as in the grade ones, the top class horses, I think it's very hard to beat that. But as in going away as well and seeing top class horses coming over from England and Ireland, you're still on the bus from Cheltenham and Punchestown has to be there as well. So it's hard to split them, but they're the 2 top ones. Racehorses. Geez, there's so many that are really from Denman, Hurricane Fly, like Faugheen is up there.
Have to pick one.
Just because we were there and he everyone was writing him off, and I think 3/4 of Punchestown were on him.
Yeah.
It has to be Faugheen because I've
That's
never heard a roar in my life when he jumped the last clear. He was about 15 lengths clear.
Yeah, it's very good.
That will always stick with me. And we seen him again this year in the parading. He'll always be one of my top favorite. As a hurdler, Faugheen. Chaser, it's very close between Denman and Size in Europe. Size in Europe was there when I started coming into it, and it was a local horse. He was trained around the corner from me. So I'm obviously going to have an affinity with him. So as them, probably Size in Europe, because he's the local horse. He's the one that really took my imagination from. I backed him in the Arkle. I backed him in the champion chase. Yeah, probably on that Size in Europe.
I feel bad for losing Europe out now. Can we throw in the best horse you've ever sat on?
Look at Size and John as well. An honourable mention to Size and John as well. No. He's the one that got the podcast off the ground.
Yeah, he did, to be fair. Racecourse, Andrew touched on Cheltenham, so did Tom. It's just amazing. My favourite one in Ireland is probably Punchestown, but as a spectacle, I don't think I've ever been to a better weekend as the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown. Bar the first day, a bit of a disaster after COVID with not enough staff and stuff, but it didn't take away from the fact that it was just an amazing couple of
Patrick
days.
saved the day that day. He brought his flask of whiskey.
The race, and like I'd advise any English listeners, if Cheltenham's getting bigger and so on, they want a decent weekend. It was just amazing, and it wasn't overly busy that you couldn't enjoy yourself or walk around or have a bet or a pint or anything. It was great.
And there's plenty of places to go as well if the weather's not great.
Yeah, very good. Racehorse, like the lads, there's so many. I could pick flat ones and jumps ones, but Denman's right up there. But my favorite racehorse is Big Bucks. Everything that he did would just scream that he did not give a fuck about anything, and he needed Ruby to ride him a particular way to get him to win. The 4 times at Cheltenham when other horses tried everything to get him beat, and then he'd go a length up, stop bothering like Stradivarius did a couple of weeks ago. He's just like, race over now, I'll just throw it away. And he was just a nutcase. And the first race, when he fell in the Hennessy and then went back over hurdles, like he was definitely a shoo-in for the Hennessy, and he could not jump a twig when he was going over fences. He was one hoof on one side, one hoof on the other, head through it, and it was all to do with he just didn't care. Like
too much effort.
Riddled with talent, but didn't want to make the effort. And even you go back through, like people that might be new to racing, his hurdling was atrocious at times as well. He used to just run through hurdles.
Oh, but, let me get the A to B and leave me alone, Ruby.
He was so talented, and they knew he was. I'd say it was around the time of Denman and Cole. But if they really got that chap to jump fences, I'm sure he would have won.
What was his best performance?
I think his best performance was probably the first World Hurdle. He was offered, I think it was a big price, about 6-1 that day. And everybody thought Punchestown's trained by Nicky Henderson was going to beat him. Big Bucks had beaten him in the trial, but was receiving like £8, and they were like, "There's no way," because he only beat him by half a length or whatever. There's no way that form's going to be turned around, and he just battered him, and he came around the top end behind him, and looked like this is over, and then off he went, toddled up into the front, and tried to throw the race away.
Pricked his ears and stopped.
That or when he beat Fowler La Vedette, because she got a peach of a ride, he couldn't even see her. And then Ruby realised what was happening, switched again. Yeah.
Did he lose his whip that day?
Yeah, lost his whip as well. So yeah, Big Bucks for me.
Flat horse, go on, the hell with it. Flat horse. Well, he's thinking again, let us know what your ones are.
Probably flat horse, probably Henry the Navigator.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of into Aidan O'Brien's horses, and when he won the Coventry at Royal Ascot, I think he broke the track record. I was like, this thing is an airplane. And he ended up being beaten by New Approach twice later on in 2-year-old career, and I couldn't get my head around how he got back because I thought he was an absolute certainty for the Guineas the following year. New Approach went off. I think he was 5-4 even money, and I had a big bet on Henry Navigator 10-1, and he won. And then he won like a nose, and then the Irish Guineas, it was like there's no way he's withholding that form. And I was like, Aidan's horses always improve for run. He's going to batter New Approach this time. And he bet him like 3 lengths. And then I backed New Approach for the Derby because it was like the reason he was winning good races 2-year-old, but he's not quite as fast as Henry the Navigator. And he won the Derby. So it was a good summer that year.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So Henry the Navigator. Next one is favourite race and why, if there's a reason, or do you have an affinity towards it? And Tom, you can go first again.
Favorite race. That's a tough one. I mean, you're straight away attracted to the Gold Cup, aren't you? It's like it still is the biggest spectacle of the year, I think. To be honest, without picking another one, I love the novice races. I love especially the novice chases, because you're always looking at, like, and novice hurdles, in fairness, because you're looking at what can be the next superstar. So I think those grade 1 novice races where you're really looking for one to go and stand out, I think they're fun. And to be honest, if we're looking at Cheltenham, which we are in reality, the Supreme every year, like, there's just so much hype around it, so much build up to it. It's the first race. You're buzzing to get going. There's each way offers for the first 6 places most years when there's a lot of runners. I like that. So yeah, I think the Supreme probably, but the Gold Cup is a great spectacle, and those novice races, I really do like the novice races as well.
Andrew?
I have to agree in a way with the Supreme, because as Tom said, there's so much hype and build up to it, because we're talking about it practically now, about Cheltenham, and that's the first race to kick it all off. The Gold Cup as well, but I think the champion hurdle I really like as well. Away from Cheltenham, I like the Ascot Gold Cup.
Yeah, it is. That's a good race.
I enjoy the Ascot Gold Cup because it's out and out stamina sapping, and I back a winner every now and then of it, which helps. Yeah, but I think the Supreme overall, from the build up to Cheltenham throughout the year, Ascot Gold Cup, and maybe Jesus, the Gold Cup of Punchestown is always good as well. That always throws up a good race. You'd have the likes of, remember, Coney, Grease, and John and Jack Adam jumping the last together. We had Allaho this year.
It's good.
We had Weapons Amnesty or War Attrition nearly getting up to be Planet of Sound.
It's been some good races.
Denman got beaten. Corto Star got pulled up in it.
True.
It's been a lot of decent runners in that race as in top class race. So that would be up there as well. And the good old cross country chases. The Latouche, I bloody love the Latouche of Punchestown.
The Latouche this year was class with Ballyburg up Bertrand.
He jumped the bank and he didn't even touch the top of it. He just glided over.
He's a bit of a legend. He's retired now and he's enjoying himself. I really like the Supreme. I'm sure it happens to other people, but I get jitters for the 2 hours the day of Tuesday.
It's not nice.
And you're just so anxious to see it, and you want to start with a winner or get some money on the board. It's just a great, even more so than the racing, the build up to that race is great. But my actual favorite race, and it's lost the last few years,
I know,
is the Hennessy. In the depths of winter, best 3 mile chaser, handicap 3 mile chasers. You have the older horses coming back. You have the new kind of grade 1 novice chasers from the year before going against each other. Hasn't produced the best winners in the last few years, but before that, I mean, like Bob's Worth went on to win a Gold Cup. Smad Place was good in it and then won in it. Denman won it twice. There's been numerous others.
Tidal Bay was placed and he went on to win a Lexus.
Yeah, so it usually produced a decent horse. Last few years it didn't. And just it's coming the time of the year, you know, when that's done, you have the Christmas race and then Cheltenham's around the corner and Christmas around the corner. So, yeah, I really, really like the Hennessy.
Too many options now from to not running.
Probably.
So like you can name off 4 horses that you would want to run in that, and I guarantee you'd be lucky if one actually turns up.
Well, hopefully it's good Hennessy next year. Some good novice chasers. A lot of 3 mile novice chasers.
Monkfish.
Yeah, he might be back. Glass legs himself at the top of the game. Them big chestnuts are just
big. He's dead.
He's really
dead.
We'll move on to memories of the jumps, and this is 1 or 2. Like we could pick out stuff and talk about it for God knows how long, but just 1 or 2, Cheltenham, wherever, Ireland, Punchtown, 1 or 2 that stick in your memory. I know what I'm going to pick. Just one for me. Tom, fire away.
I think back to best mate again, winning that 3rd Gold Cup. Obviously, that was incredible. And then Corto v Denman, I thought that was just unbelievable. They're the ones that stick out. I think the journey we're on with Honeysuckle now, I think we're going to look back at that and maybe that we're underappreciating it right now. What she's doing is incredible. For me, there hasn't been a horse like her in many years. And I can't wait for next year because she's got some proper challenges. But still, as we said before, I would not be betting against her. But I think we're going to look back at her and she's going to be spoken of in the same terms as all those greats, and like how special that was to have witnessed that.
Do you think the same is going to happen with Rachel? I highly doubt we're going to see anything like her in a long time.
She's top class. Like there's some great women jockeys, but she's like A1 10 out of 10. And it's hard to be A1 10 out of 10. Like, so
she's broken the whole thing of female jockeys, to be honest, because she's just a jockey and she's one of the very, very best jockeys. And from working with her, she's exceptional to work with. And then, as we spoke about with Cheltenham last year, people were saying, "Oh, you know, is she just getting on the right horses?" But she was riding the boots off people. I think those 4 days, she just completely came alive. But even the ride she gave Cool Arcade the other day, she was on the best horse in the race. She wanted to be dropped in a little bit to get some cover. She did exactly what she said she was going to do. She got bumped then at the 3rd last and said, "Feck this, lads. You're getting out of my way." Went to the front, stole the race off the bend then, and they couldn't get back to her. She'd come out and said, you know, they're not coming back to them today. She said, on this ground around Tipperary, they don't come back. And she just completely rode the boots off them. Like, now she was on the best horse in the race, but she did exactly what she said she was going to do. She executed it perfectly. And it's just, you know, to go and do that is not the easiest thing in the world. So, no, she's class. Yeah, she's class. And the other one, like some of the ones we got running, Zoffany Bay winning the Otoy, that handicap hurdle was incredible. Like that was one of my best ever days, like watching racing. Like just never ever thought I'd own a horse that wins a listed handicap hurdle at Otoy. So that was fantastic. I think Shona's first win, because that was our first win in Ireland then as well. Like that really stands out, and obviously you guys were involved, a few other friends were involved, and it was great to get a winner for everyone. So yeah, there's been some really good days, lads, so we're lucky enough.
Andrew, give me a memory of the jumps, something that sticks out in your mind. When you go home and close your eyes at night, straight away you think of it.
I don't want to know what I'm thinking about when I close my eyes at night. I'd probably go back to the first Punchestown Festival I went to. And back to what I mentioned earlier, Hurricane Fly on his comeback, beating Solwood on the line. I think he went off something like 3-1 or something like that. There was a hell of a lot of money for Dung Gwib. that day.
Jesus.
What? I'm not lying.
You're not lying. You're not.
It's facts.
A lot of steroids there.
Facts. I think Dunquib went off a ridiculous short price.
Probably favourites, yeah.
But the ride Paul Townend gave this horse on the day was unbelievable. Davey went for a home at the bend and it looked like he had a race sewn up on Solwish. But his hurdling technique over the last, I said, look, he hurdled it obviously, but he skimmed over it. It's just imagine you have a scrape and you're just peeling off paint. That's how he went. It was unbelievable. And the crowd, I think the majority of the crowd again was on it. It just erupted the closer and closer and closer. And Jerry Hannon's commentating on it as well helped a lot. That would be one of my favourite memories of being there on track, seeing it happen. What was the other one? Off track, Shauna winning her first race at Limerick. That was deadly.
Yeah, it was deadly.
I remember my youngest, he was still a small enough baby. He was asleep in the bed next to me. I think I jumped up and he nearly fell off the bed when she won. But yeah, look, that'll always stand in your memory, your first winner. Look, I was involved in the Horse and Henry's before that, and sadly he passed away before he could win his race. Never does the work. Can we talk about worst race in memory?
No, we're not.
Was knocking on the door, getting done on the line out in Tramore.
No, we're not.
There were 20 lengths clear coming down the hill, and I never seen a horse do idle so much in my life. Done on the line by John, what's his name? He always runs that horse to you back. He ran it at Dublin Racing Festival. You backed him like 101 to place.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah, John Ryan, is it? Yeah, he trained it. I'll never forget this day to this day. That hurt me. But yeah, they're my two best memories.
My memories, Shauna was class. It was a deadly day, but the one that sticks out for me is, and he did it twice at Cheltenham, three times, but twice over fences, is Vautour. In my opinion, I've never seen a horse jump a fence like Vautour. It was literally perfection from start to finish in those two races. The what's now the Marsh, but it was the JLT back then, and then he came back and did it in the Ryanair, and it was just the only thing that reminds me of it at the moment is probably what Allaho has been doing, but he's a bit faster than Allaho, and there was no messing of fences. He literally just pinged every single fence.
Would he have won the Gold Cup that year?
I would have hoped he would, yeah.
Who won it that year?
Conagry, I think. That was the same year Conagry won it because they had Jack on. But he was just something spectacular. And then he went out to the field and unfortunately never came back, which was sad because I'm sure he would have won copious more of grade ones. And I suppose he got a little bit forgotten about through the years then because they had Duvan and Fahim. But in my opinion, he was the best of those Rich Ritchie horses back at that time when he had three of those. He had Annie Power. Benny was coming up. He'd Vroom Mag, but Vautour was just
Isn't Vautour and Duvan the whole what could have been?
Yeah, like Vautour did it, but then suffered an injury away from the track and sadly had to be put down. And Duvan just
broke all the time.
Injured all the time, yeah. There you go.
Just shows though how hard it is to keep some of those horses right, like the likes of Duvan. Can you imagine like the expertise? Like no stone would have gone unturned. The best vets in the country would have tried to keep Duvan sound. You just couldn't.
I think it just goes. People are always saying, "Oh, all the big horses are getting injured." I think it's in a way you probably know from yourself for training. When the more talented you are, and the more you think you can get out of yourself, the harder you're going to push your body. Which I would think is the same way with horses. They hate. They're a pack-minded animal.
Yeah.
So the ones with the good mentality, with the talent, will always push themselves that much harder, and then leaves a mark on their body.
That's a fine line, and even in training, you like as a human, if you feel a niggle, you try to train through it. I'm sure horses are the same when they know they're good, but they can't tell you they have a niggle, and then it becomes an injury, and then it becomes a problem, and so on. So
Bar Mark Fisu, who never has a problem, just couldn't be arsed.
He's just a dude. I love that horse.
He's going to be out the next 2 weeks, lads. I'm telling you. I said if he wins, I'm going to do the lotto.
If he wins, we're having the biggest party ever.
Okay, we've two more. We'll go memories of a flat race or a flat horse, and then I pick for Cheltenham, or Andrew has 2. I take the
I have
first.
2.
You said you might have 2. Start.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Then.
He did.
I take the first memories of the flat. Obviously, it's more my thing, and I'd say the lads are just probably going to choose Frankel.
No.
But,
Oh, I haven't.
Back when Henry the Navigator was rocking around, there was other horses around the same time, and it was the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot over a couple of years. Golikova, Paco Boy, Camphor Cliffs, and Frankel was coming along at the end of that. But those couple of years, I really loved Paco Boy. I don't know why. I just had an affinity with him as well, and I really thought he could beat Golikova. He didn't beat her in that particular year, but just made me stand up and notice how good mares can be getting £7, and if they're like top standard, like we have a Honeysuckle now and so on and so forth, and then an Able and all the others. But she was the first one that I saw as a mare that could win copious amounts of Group 1 races at any level against colts, and the turn of foot that horse had was just spectacular. So yeah, Royal Ascot back then, and that's why I kind of started liking Royal Ascot as well. That was a top Queen Anne back then, riddled with Group 1 winners. It hasn't been such a good race in the last couple of years, but Golikova against Paco Boy.
Good times.
Yeah, it was.
Good times. I remember the other fella, Dick Turpin.
He was nowhere near the standard then.
He was funny. Horse. He was funny.
Tom?
Yeah, look, Frankel's the obvious one, isn't he? As I say, I loved watching him for his few seasons. But a couple, Dave, you mentioned one there is Golikova. I love watching the Breeders' Cup, and I'd love to go somewhere. It definitely won't be this year, but I'd love to plan a trip over there probably for Santa Anita or one of those class places. I'd love to go. But I used to love watching her and Ouija Board. Ouija Board was absolutely deadly. I really, really loved Ouija Board now. So yeah, there are a couple. And then I think from a personal perspective, a horse I bought very, very cheaply for a really good friend of mine called Rockview Emperor. Won at Tremore's August meeting, which is, as you might have seen last year, is where we're always trying to get a winner. And Rockview had been a bit of an enigma, had won for us, and then kind of lost his way a little bit. And he ran that day with a hood and cheek pieces on it. So that kind of tells you all you need to know about him. But he came down the hill in Tremore and he kicked like 5 lengths clear. And the celebrations were just going crazy. Looked around then and he got up by about half a length. So heart and mouth stuff right at the end. But yeah, that's one of my personal memories. But yeah, Ouija Board, Golikova at the Breeders' Cup, they were fantastic.
Andrew?
Main one that sticks out is Rite of Passage winning the Gold Cup.
Very good. Who did he beat?
He beat a Ballydoyle horse
with a big white face.
Big white face. He went on to win the race after. He was wearing the dark navy colours.
It's a cool name too.
Oh, I know. It's what's his name? I can't remember.
Age of Aquarius.
Yeah. He beat him. I think he went. Age of Aquarius went off favourite in around something like that. And Rite of Passage, I think I backed him at 25-1 or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he ran over hurdles before it or after it, one or the other. So
he probably did.
I think he did. And that's probably one of the reasons why I backed him that day.
Yeah.
Trained by Dermot Well, Pass Mullen was on him. I just love horses going at it from miles out in my kind of races. But back down then to 5 furlongs, Richard Hughes and Soul Power. Yeah, Mother of God. Anytime you watch it, I don't know.
He's the perfect horse for Richard Hughes.
I don't know whatever it was like York.
Yeah, he won 2
Nunthorpes where he had no right to win, but he literally dropped him on the line. You're sitting there a furlong out. He's a good 4 lengths off. You're not winning this. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It's unreal. Same with him on Camphor Cliffs as well. Yeah. He's a Group 1 I was going to say he's a Group 1 Jamie Spencer, but Jamie Spencer is a Group 3 Richard Hughes.
Yeah, Richard Hughes very good on those horses. Soul Power is perfect.
He's on. Richard Hughes probably one of the best hold-up jockeys we will ever see. But you rite a passage from the staying point of view. But anytime Soul Power ran, what was he won? He had a bad record in Maidan before, didn't he? And he actually ended up winning the sprint one year. I could be totally wrong.
He went off a good price all the time. Like when he first won his Group 1, it was the first race he ever won. He broke his maiden.
He's 50 to 1 or something.
He's 100 to 1. He bet Star Spangled Banner and it was out of nowhere. But then he backed it up a few times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, there were two. Rite of Passage and Soul Power.
And if you've managed to stay with us to this point, which I hope you have,
I'm going to break these up into sections.
Or you could just skip all the way through. Just go until the Cheltenham one. Tom, you can go first. Cheltenham anti-post pick. Give it to
that should be 2023, sorry.
Mine is going to be Free Strike Life. And
I'm not surprised Free Strike Life's been brought up on this podcast.
Hi, Kenny.
Hi, Kenny. Yeah. Look, I think I've been highlighted to him more because obviously I have Kenny, who's one of the nicest guys you ever meet, who owns him. But I do genuinely believe in the horse. Like, he got well stuck into him at Aintree. He really deserved that. And I'm going to put him up for the Turners and the Brown Advisory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd back him for both. He's a decent price for both. I think he is definitely going to be a better chaser. I think he's one of these now. You know, we were on about Brave Man's Game last year. It really would kick on over fences, and he did. And I think Free Stripe Life, he was the only horse could get anywhere near Sir Gerhard this year. Obviously, forget about Punchestown for Sir Gerhard. But he was the only horse could get anywhere near him. And I think that's going to stand to him. And I think once he goes chasing, I think he'll narrow that gap a little bit with Sir Gerhard. I think he'd be better than the rest of them over a trip as well. He won one Grade 1 this year. He should have won another at Leopardstown. He ran in 5 Grade 1s in total. He did Christmas, he did the Dublin Racing Festival, Cheltenham, Aintree, and Punchestown. And the worst he finished was third, beating 7 lengths. Like, the horse's constitution is unbelievable to go and do that. I hope he's enjoying his break now and getting nice and fat out in the field. And roll on next year. I think he's going to be a hell of a chaser. I think he's still a bit green, you know. I think he's still got growing up to do mentally. Roll on Cheltenham 2023 and your anti-post picks for Cheltenham.
See, I don't have my glasses today. I'm all over the place. Sorry. I can't even see this.
Very good.
Okay, Strike Life. Andrew, you're next.
David, I still can't get over this price. Honeysuckle 7-2 to win the champion hurdle is ridiculous.
Back to Honeysuckle a few times.
7-2 for an unbeaten mare, dual champion hurdle winner, a dual Irish champion hurdle winner, dual Punchestown champion hurdle winner, is 7-2 to retain her crown next year. All well and good, Constitution Hill, he could be unbelievable next year, but he still has to prove in open company, and we know how hard that is from novices going into open company. So until he proves it in open company, which he'll probably have an easy time in England, Nicky will do the usual routine with his champion hurdlers. It'll be pipe opener somewhere, then it'll be Kempton, it'll be that race at Sandown, Kender's hurdle. And then it'll probably be his first. And again, this is why probably 7-2 when you look back close to time. It'll be first. I always say it every year. It'll be a first proper hard race where the likes of the Horse and Earn will have the Dublin Racing Festival. They have the Christmas festivals. They all go against each other. They're battle hardened. 7-2 Honeysuckle right now looks ridiculous.
You're right, aren't you? He's going to take that Epatante route of Newcastle, Kempton. He'll bolt up.
Yeah.
He looks an exceptional horse, but I wouldn't have him as 2-1, and you can actually get 4s somewhere about her. I wouldn't have him half the price of her. Not a hope and has a chance.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I think Honeysuckle is an amazing price as well. I've backed her a good few times. My one is Allegory Devassi for the Mayor's Hurdle.
Shock a woman.
Yeah, I think the Mayor's races are getting better and better as the year goes on. I hope Willie keeps her over hurdles, and I think he will, because she didn't get a full season over hurdles, and her form was franked by Brandy Love. The Mayor's in behind in the race that she won. I think it's around Christmas time. We kind of knew she wasn't going to make Cheltenham by the betting a couple of weeks before she was ruled out. Willie has loads of mares to go for the Grade 2 Mares Chase, so I think Allegory Devassi could be the one for the Mares Hurdle. She's around 16-1. I think that's too big a price.
It's a good price.
Yep.
Considering she probably is the best.
Yeah,
like she probably hasn't proven it yet, but on
Rich Ritchie has been looking for some decent horses, and he seems to have one in Boban, but I think this is a decent mare. I don't think any of the mares that he's bought over the years have been terrible. Some of them haven't been Grade 1 mares, but generally he unearths a good one, like Vroom Mag and Benny and Annie Power, Limini.
He's had a good time of it, in fairness.
Yeah, he's had a good time, and he's had a few years where he hasn't had the most horses to be competing at the top level, but I think she's a Grade 1 mare.
He'll always find it, though.
Yeah. That's what money
It's
does.
very hard to find those horses, though, lads, and then everybody wants them. Like, it's
Told you, Andrew.
really,
They want
really
the money.
is.
They don't say no to more money.
Cash is king.
On that note, we will leave it there, and I hope you enjoyed listening. We will be back on Friday. Video on Twitter that Andrew put together, just some picks for the weekend, and then next week the Derby and the Oaks is on, so we'll have an extended preview on that, and as ever we'll be back Sunday with